What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a review of the Garmin Panoptix Livescope. Don't want to miss this one, so stick around. Oh, and by the way, if you guys like this type of content, let me know by subscribing to my channel. It'll help me keep making great content like this for you. Okay, so first we're going to start off with a little overview of how I have my equipment set up, and then we will move on to the actual review process. We're not going to really be reviewing the head unit, but we will be talking about it a little bit. Okay, so starting off with the black box, I have it located underneath my rod locker in this bass tracker. Not sure how well we can see that, but it's right here behind the green rod. And then I have some of the wires going through some of the rod guides here. I do have it wired up with 10 gauge wire directly to the battery. Now let's move on up onto the business unit here. I have it on a power switch right here. Right now I have it on because I'm about to show it to you, but I like to have it like this so I can turn it off when I'm not using it. It does suck down a lot of battery. And then as far as the transducer, I have it on the Fishing Specialties transducer pole, and the way I have this guy set up is wherever the pole is pointing is where it is in forward view. Time for a little bit more of a tidbit. The Garmin Panoptix Livescope only has a 20-degree viewing angle. So to help you out in the physical world here, for every 10 feet out or every 10 feet down, you're only looking at a 3.5 foot window. So if it's at 20 feet, you're going to be looking at 7 foot. If you're looking at 40 feet, you're looking at 14 feet. Hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit on exactly what you're actually looking at. But just a simple rule of thumb, for every 10 foot down or away that you are, it's 3.5 foot viewing length. Just a little tidbit. Okay, so for this little tidbit, I'm going to do the best I can to give you guys the best view that I possibly can. So let's turn this toward a tree. I had a tree mark. There we go. All right. So here we have here is a tree. You can actually mark this tree as a waypoint if you wanted to. Create a waypoint. Pretty easy to do that. There are a couple settings that we need to talk about here first. And one is your depth range and the other is your forward range. I like to use Panoptix Livescope in the forward range. I don't really do any in the down scan or the down view. I always stick to forward, mainly because I like to cast and look forward, and if I'm vertical jigging, I will have it out there, have it away from the boat. So I leave my depth range in auto and the forward range. I have that where I can change it with the two shortcut buttons over here. So the other two pieces is you have a gain that you can adjust up or down. I recommend having this not in any of the autos, but adjusting it based upon whatever the water conditions are for that day. So, all right, have that adjusted. We can see our little tree here. Now, the other two important things to keep in mind, we have two more adjustments. Under sonar setup, we have noise reject and TVG. So if we lower our noise reject to off, you will get the famous or infamous the infamous ghost tree. So if you make your adjustments correctly, like I just did, I had my noise reject at medium this time to get rid of that ghost tree. The ghost tree is not really caused by anything that Garmin does with their unit. The ghost tree is caused by reflections from one of the 3 transducers and received by the other one because of hard bottom. So you see how hard my returns are here on the bottom? I actually have a very hard bottom. This lake actually is a very rocky lake, and it's not surprising to have the ghost tree here. Now the deeper you are, the less likely you are to have that ghost tree anyways, because you'll have less return. Then we're going to leave that on medium, and then you adjust your time variable gain as well to help get rid of that ghost tree. So yeah, I can have it on high, and that will reduce almost any noise that I have, but I also won't be able to see any little details. So I can deal with a little bit of noise, but I don't want it to be to the extreme to where I cannot tell details anymore. Why don't you guys smash that thumbs up button if you really love crappie fishing and you really want to catch more crappie. Now a little bit of information on the head units. This particular head unit is the Garmin EchoMap Plus 93 SV. Now it is one of the cheapest ones that you can get that is compatible with Livescope. It does a decent job, but if you're really going out there to buy a Livescope, I highly recommend you buying the largest screen that you can afford. So this thing would really excel on a 12-inch screen, but in this case, all I could afford was a 9, and that is what I purchased. So the reason I recommend the 12-inch screen is because it will show you so much more detail. Having a compact screen, you will lose quite a bit of detail and you won't really even know it. The larger your screen, the more detail you will be able to see and differentiate between branches, trees, grass, fish, and those type things. Oh, and there's one other setting we didn't talk about, and it's definitely worth talking about, so let's talk about it right now. So this other setting we're going to talk about is a part of the appearance, and it's the trails. I like to have the trails on fast. Now what a trail is it will tell you when something is moving on your screen. So let's go back to the screen real quick. You see the light blue here? Okay, that's a trail. Now I'm going to turn the Livescope intentionally to make a trail. So it's really a great indicator of what is actually moving when you're still. Looks like there might be a fish there just kind of suspended, but it will tell you what's a fish and what's not, especially when the fish is moving or ever slightly moving. So I highly recommend having the trails on. So now with Garmin Panoptix Livescope, you have 3 different methods of viewing. You have forward view, which is what I have mine set up for, and there's not really a way to adjust it out of forward view. You have down view, and then you also have perspective view, which you need a special mount to do that with. I have not used perspective view at all, and I have not used down view really all that much because of the way I have my pole set up. So one of the more interesting things about the Garmin Panoptix Livescope is the AHRS system. Now I don't actually remember what the acronym stands for, but it's really just a position type sensor, which it tells you, well, it tells the system what mode it's actually turned into. So it could be, it'll tell the head unit whether or not it's in forward view, down view, or perspective view. So the most interesting thing about that system is that if you're in waves or in somebody's wake and your boat's doing a pretty good rock, the AHRS system will recognize that and actually smooth out the screen so you're not seeing any large jumps, which is a really great system. It'd be great if it was in normal type transducers, and you know, if you have one and you're going over some waves, you'll see the wavy pattern of the bottom, and you'll know, okay, I'm not on a smooth pattern here, and all my information is a little bit distorted. Well, not with this transducer. It will definitely recognize that, and it will make the auto corrections for you. So while we're in anchor mode here, I just want to talk to you guys a few things about the Garmin Panoptix Livescope. The first thing is do you need Garmin Panoptix Livescope to catch fish? And obviously the answer is no. You don't need this system to catch fish. But I will tell you, I have used it and caught more fish than I would have without it. I've used it to catch walleye. I've not really used it to catch bass yet, but it is definitely the crappie killer. I can put the jig right in front of any crappie's face and make him strike it. It's actually helped me several times in determining whether or not I'm using the right color, the right jig size, or even if they're spooked from the line. So definitely beneficial in those regards. But do you need it? No. Is it a great want to have? Absolutely. I do recommend, sorry, I'm looking this way. I heard a boat coming toward me. I do recommend buying the system if you can afford it, but you do not absolutely have to have it. You can get away with traditional sonar and be just as effective while fishing. Now, that being said, Garmin Panoptix Livescope is definitely cutting edge. It is like down scan, but in live video. I do expect to see this start to be used more in bass tournaments. I'm not really sure how well they're going to be able to apply it to them, but they definitely will be trying it. So in conclusion, the Garmin Panoptix Livescope is definitely cutting edge technology, and if you want to keep up with the times, you definitely do need to invest into it at some point. But if you don't, you're not going to be missing out on catching all the fish in the lake, but you will be missing out on the newest technology that will be changing the fishing industry forever. But that being said, like always, until next time, get out there and go catch you some fish.